Come with us on a journey into the unknown, the unexplained, and the unbelievable. We will test your senses and challenge your beliefs. A world where science and religion clash. Or do they? You will meet real people and hear real stories, but you will not believe. You will witness strange sights and hear strange sounds, but you will not believe. This is the New England Ghost Project. Welcome to the nightmare.
Good morning, everyone. That was a good. You didn't get my good in there. You didn't bring up the volume fast enough.
It was there.
I couldn't hear it.
It was a little lower, but it was there.
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, say good morning again. If you think we missed it, just say it again.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. And it's 11:05 in the valley. It's a warm, sunny day. And guess what? Look. No wool cap. Yep.
Spring is here.
Sprung is sprung. Spring is sprung. So there you go. Anyways, I'm Ron Kolek, and of course, my co-host, the Professor Lou Blasi.
Yes.
Yeah. So you evolved into my co-host. You have. Anyways, sorry about the show last week, but I had to put my cat down, of 18 years, which is probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
It's so hard. It's so hard. Yeah, I've done it. Yeah, obviously.
Have you done it
before? Put animals down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have?
Sure.
Did you cry?
Of course.
Yeah. It's like, I usually consider myself pretty tough. I mean, as far as emotional-wise, you know, I can handle human death, I think, better than I freaking can.
I agree, yeah.
Pet death.
No, with animals, it's a whole different thing for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's for everyone. I mean, you saw all well, maybe you didn't see it, but I mean, there's like a couple hundred comments on my Facebook page from people.
Oh, good,
that,
yeah.
You know.
Because everyone can relate to that.
I guess they can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess a lot of people have pets. I mean, and you know, I always bring up Duncan McDougal and his dogs have no souls thing, which is, you know, it is. It's basically what I do. It's not necessarily my own personal views on the air. It's what I'm talking about. But
well, that's a Catholic thing too, isn't it?
What?
Or have they modified that?
I have no clue.
Dogs don't go to heaven. I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe I'm misreading.
It depends what heaven is. We don't even know what heaven is.
I know.
To me, I don't think it is a place.
But in the context of the Catholic religion, it's a place where all souls go.
We made it a place.
Yeah.
In reality.
Yep.
You know. But I really don't know. I mean, you know, in all fairness, I went to the Wiggle.
You saw the Wiggles?
No, the Wiggle. What's it? Wignall. There you go. Wignall Animal Hospital in Drake. That's where I went to have it done. I didn't even know it was there, by the way. And
these people, can you imagine?
They were so sad. I mean, they were so awesome. They really were.
Can you imagine doing that all day?
No.
Or doing that how many times a week?
Yeah.
And obviously they love animals. They wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
mean, it's so sad. I mean, I posted the picture on my page. Is like each 20 pounds there. And when Jan was going through the cancer, like one of the things they had to put down is, you know, your cat, how much weight is your cat and everything else.
Really?
Oh yeah, because you're kind of fragile and stuff like that. But anyways.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you'd be worried about the cat jumping on you or something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You know, lifting it or whatever. Whatever.
So they said stay away from that cat.
Yeah. So, I mean, he was like 8 pounds when he died.
Yeah.
And he was so sad. I mean, excuse me, he's a she. I mean, he wasn't even my best cat, but I still cried like a baby.
I think it's amazing. We found out more and more how much animals do have souls. And I mean, this goes beyond, animals are functioning, animals.
Yeah.
You know, they have their...
Oh, they have their personalities.
They have their drive. Yeah, and...
That's the thing. It's the personality that does... If all the animals were just animals, it would be different. But you can tell. I mean, you know, as a dog owner especially, you can almost communicate with them. You know what they're going. They know what you want. And they can tell when you're not feeling good. You can...
Yep. But they have friends. They miss you when you're gone.
Exactly.
They have, moods up and down. They're happy. It's just like anyone else, right?
Yeah. Our last cat before this one, I mean... It would know when we came home. It would be waiting for us by the door.
Yeah.
And everything else. I had a laugh, though, because this is my first female cat, and what a bitch she was too. Oh God! But I did love her. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
They do grow on you. Not very affectionate at all. Always on her terms.
Yeah.
I mean, she'd sit on Jan's lap once in a while, especially when she was younger, but not so much at the end.
Yep. Well, that's a cat.
And me very rarely.
Yeah.
But it's really weird because at the end, she when she was sleeping, she was fine, but when she woke up, she would be crying and everything. So I'd put her on my lap and I would pet her, and she just loved it, right?
Yeah.
So last time I did that, and I was up 4 nights with her before this happened. So I'd be sitting in a chair petting her for quite a while, and then I said, "See, 18 years I had you. You could have had this for 18 years,
Yep.
but you blew it." But anyway.
Good for you, shaming the cat.
Yeah, well, you got to. But anyway, so it was a sad thing.
Yes.
All right, so speaking of animals, you ever hear of Project Fantasia?
No, I have not.
Really?
No.
So,
Is it a Disney deal?
No. This is World War II.
Oh, okay. Yep.
During prior to World War II, each of the armed services had their own information garrisons, gathering services and stuff. Mm-hmm. And FDR created the OSS, which is the predecessor of the CIA.
Yep.
And so they were in charge of it. So in 1943, the OSS devised a strategic plan. Their idea was to spray foxes with fluorescent paint and set them loose in Japan.
Okay. I'm just so curious now. I cannot put any logic to that, so I want to know what they're up to.
They actually
sprayed them with fluorescent paint.
Yep.
And let them loose.
They did this, and let me see if it's in this particular article. Yeah, here it is. They actually conducted tests here in the States. The initial tests were conducted in New York Central Park. The OSS dispatched 30-odd fluorescently sprayed
Fluorescent foxes?
fluorescent foxes
I am so curious right now.
into the park.
Yep.
And they wanted to see what effect the foxes would have on the people. Because they didn't tell anybody. They just let them loose. So he took 30 glow-in-the-dark foxes and shoved them in the park.
Yeah.
So no one's ever seen a glow-in-the-dark fox movie. You?
No, I have not.
Okay.
No.
So you can imagine it was a little bit disturbing.
So is this Psychops? They were trying to convince people they were ghost foxes? What were they trying to do? Okay.
I'll get into
All right.
that in reality. They actually had there is reason behind this.
Yeah, I can't wait.
So they dispatched, and the New Yorkers became horrified. They called the cops and everything else, and the cops said, "Well, maybe you just saw an animal with glowing-in-the-dark eyes or something. You know how you got to get the reflection of his cats or something."
Right.
No. These were the whole animals. Yeah. So, anyways, the success.
That would be pretty freaky.
Yeah, glow-in-the-dark foxes.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. You're probably wondering why foxes, right?
Yeah. Well, yes, among other things. But yes, that's what I'm wondering.
The answer lies in the Japanese religion of Shinto.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Traditional religion of Japan. Shinto dates back to the 8th century. With no central gods or goddesses to worship, the Shintoists, are you a Shintoist?
I don't think so.
Devote themselves into invisible spirits called kami, K-M-I.
Kami.
K-A-M-I.
Okay.
One such kami is known as the Inari, or the spirit fox.
The spirit fox.
Yep.
Yep.
While traditional Japanese folklores, foxes are seen as faithful guardians, they were thought to be witch animals as well. When the
Animals.
Yeah, witch animals. And when the Inari were seen illuminated or glowing, bad luck was on the horizon.
Oh.
So it was their plan to get these spray-in-the-dark foxes and let them loose in Japan and scare the crap out of the Japanese people thinking that doom was coming, and therefore they would force a end to the war. See, I told you there was a reason there.
It's just amazing. See, This is a good test of my second guy theory. Right? There had to be a guy who came up with this idea, was reading about spirit foxes, said, let's let a bunch of them loose in Japan, and there has to be a second guy in the room who says, that's a good idea.
Yep.
Nothing happens without that second guy.
No.
God bless the first guy who comes up with the idea, but there has to be a second guy in the room.
Unfortunately, you never got the chance to use
What rank
use his plan. What?
What rank do you think the people were who were headed up this program?
I have no idea. I mean, OSS, it's their own organization,
Yeah.
so who knows? I mean, I had to go all the way up to the top to get approved, right?
So these guys came into work every day to do their job, working for this organization, and they were working on a plan to paint foxes with fluorescent paint and let them go in Japan.
Great idea.
Never happened, though?
Unfortunately, we made the people in Japan glow before this happened.
There's that, too. Yeah.
When we dropped the bombs on
Yeah.
Nagasaki. I mean, I think this would have been much more humane, except for the foxes.
I don't want to make light of the plight of the people of Japan,
No, me neither.
who attacked us and tortured us and all kinds of things they did during
Oh,
the time during the war.
That's rather mean.
Well, I understand, but
They're our friends now.
it's the truth of the matter. I know,
Glowing
but let's not rewrite history.
I know they were. I mean, but isn't that weird? I mean, that's how Americans are, except for I don't know. That's the thing. Like, when you think about the political climate now, right? Mm-hmm. Towards our own people, by the way.
Yes.
Right, and yet we can forgive a nation, except for Bush, who pukes on them. We can forgive a nation who, at what you said, tortured
Yeah.
and did a whole bunch of stuff.
They were brutal.
Yeah, they were brutal too.
Yeah.
Yet we can forgive that and treat them as allies and support them and help build up their economy and everything else. And yet we can't overlook freaking civil war in our country. Like, it's stupid.
Good point.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Or some of the founding fathers who built our country were slave owners at the time.
Here's the particular problem with the Civil War, however. Everyone talks about there being slavery in the United States, and everyone talks about the South seceding to
Yes.
protect slavery.
Yeah.
And because that was a huge part of their economics at the time and
Yeah,
so
of
on.
course.
Everyone talks about that, and that's all true, and we can't work around it or avoid
No.
it or anything like that.
No.
But by the same token, the country went to war to free the slaves, and hundreds of thousands of men died.
It did not go to war to free the slaves. I am absolutely positive on that. They went on there to keep the Union intact,
together. Yes.
which is different.
Well, which they could have also done.
If you remember, they did not free the slaves until later in the war.
I understand, but they could have also kept the Union together by not pushing abolition.
Yeah,
So the whole reason the war existed was the push for abolition.
fair enough.
Yeah.
States' rights. It was like, okay.
But yeah, everyone talks about the United States being exemplary of slavery. The fact is, we bought the slaves from somebody. We didn't capture the slaves. Secondly, we ended slavery in this country. Why don't we ever get any credit for that?
Doesn't matter. It was a horrible thing.
It was a horrible thing.
So that's what people say.
And we ended it.
And the other reality of this whole thing is that it's so easy to judge, and I've said this a trillion times, it's easy to judge the past from the future.
Yes.
Because we are more enlightened now. At least I think we are, but I don't know about this new movement out there. I really think we're getting into almost Nazism here in the country.
Oh, I know.
God forbid I say that, but it's absolutely true. It's that.
No, we're a mob. The country is a mob right now.
It's getting really, really bad.
It's
I mean,
mob mentality. This is
absolutely
mob rules.
Yep.
Yep.
And unfortunately, that's the way it is, and it's a shame. But this country was not built on that, and yet we are turning into that. And we're not becoming more enlightened. We think we are, but we try to write the past, which is ridiculous. You can't write the past. The past happened. Get that straight in your head.
Well, people start to write the United States as villains for dropping the bomb.
Yep.
And the fact of the matter is, dropping the bombs in Japan probably saved millions of lives.
I know that. I'm still totally not okay with that.
Well, no one's okay with it.
Yeah.
But, got to do what you got to do.
I know that, but still, it's just like, You know, maybe if we put the foxes in there, we'd have been all right.
It wasn't out of the blue. It was stop it or,
Yeah.
and then
So we had to drop 2 of them?
they didn't. Well, they didn't stop the first time, and they got another stop it or.
Yeah, but it was fairly quick. It wasn't like, one time, it's like, you know.
Well, it would have seemed to have been an easy decision, especially the second time.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It goes, I mean, and we talk about, you can say about the same thing about Dresden during World War II in Europe,
Yeah.
where they firebombed the city.
Yeah.
Did you ever read about that?
No, I'm not all that familiar. I know the basics of the circumstances.
Absolutely horrid.
Yeah.
People went into the ponds and the thing to escape the heat because it was so hot, and they actually boiled in the ponds. They got cooked in the ponds.
What was the thing about Dresden? What was the military?
There was no military. They just wiped it out.
Oh, for no reason?
Pretty much. They had a very aggressive British air marshal, whatever he was called. I forget what his title was, but yeah, they aggressively. I mean, they bombed the shit out of Germany. I mean, that's another country where the Nazis and all the horrific things they did as well, and yet we forgave them too, didn't we?
Well, wait a second though. But we forgave them, and Japan falls under this guidelines too. We forgave them the Reagan way. It was trust but verify. I mean, we basically controlled Japan for a long period of time.
Yeah, we rebuilt them too. We rebuilt them too.
Right.
And they're independent.
Right.
Yeah. And they're allies.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know about forgiving. I mean, and by the way...
Oh, we did forgive them.
Yeah, well, yeah.
How many people sit around and say, oh, my God, the Japanese, you're Japanese, and you spit in the ground because you walked through because you remembered they tortured our troops or anything else? It's like the Vietnamese, right?
Yeah.
Seriously. Who holds animosity to the Vietnamese right now?
Yeah.
That's like this. I mean, if I find a country, I think I'd go to Vietnam because it's like nobody cares about Vietnam. It's like, you never hear anything about it. You never hear anything bad about it. You never hear anything,
I was told this. It's funny you bring up Vietnam because I was told this weekend that it's a prime vacation destination for Europeans.
Yeah.
And it's like, as an American, I'm thinking, really, vacation in Vietnam?
They welcome Americans there.
Yeah.
They're still trying to find the bodies and returning remains to here. We were in their country. They wanted us out. I mean, that's pretty much it.
In Vietnam, still, it's like the old joke, is it too soon? But, I mean, Vietnam, a lot of people are still alive. I mean, we talk about World War II in abstract because many of us weren't alive and didn't go through it. But a lot of us went through Vietnam. I mean, not the same way that the veterans did, of course, but we lived through Vietnam.
Right.
So we're a little bit more in tune with it. And like I said, I can't imagine, the idea would never cross my mind, let's go to Vietnam for vacation, which is probably just total bias and there's no basis to it. It's probably a great place to vacation. Who knows?
I think I'd rather go there than, like, Iraq or Iran.
I don't think Iraq is a big vacation hotspot, but yeah.
Even Egypt. I don't think I'd go to Egypt.
I'd like to see Egypt.
I would like to go, but I wouldn't.
But I wouldn't.
I wouldn't, yeah.
No. Frankly, I wouldn't go to Europe right about now.
No, I wouldn't go anywhere right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, COVID aside.
Yeah. But, I mean, we are forgiven, and we have been, and it's just we can't forgive our own people now. It's just like, I don't get that. I really don't. Because Americans are always the mutts as from Stripes, the people that came from nobody that nobody wanted. And be honest with you, we're when there's trouble anywhere and people looking for help, we're always there helping them, right?
That's right.
Whether it's our own people or somebody else, we're always that way. But it's I don't know where we lost that passion, that compassion, I should say. That's compassion.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe we need some glow-in-the-dark foxes in America.
It's such a great plan.
I liked it.
It's such a great plan.
There's a lot of weird ones. There's tons of weird ones. Do you know? Oh, check this out. Did you know that we actually trained pigeons to guide bombs?
Pigeons to guide bombs? No.
Yes.
How does a pigeon guide a bomb?
Okay, yeah, I wasn't planning on this, but we got to look this baby up. I think it's a bomb. I got or a torpedo. No, it's a bomb. I know all this stuff, but I don't know the details. There it is. Pigeon-guided missiles. Pigeon-guided bombs.
All right.
There's nothing like a pigeon-guided bomb. Pigeon Project. Here you go.
Of course. What else?
Here we go. You asked for it. You got it.
I did.
Animals were never strangers to warfare. From ancient times, horses, elephants, and dogs saw a wide variety of combat uses, assuming various roles. Oh, stop with the advertisement, you little bastard. I never have so many. Anyway, for centuries, blah, 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 blah. Okay, during World War II, governments of major belligerents in the conflicts financed some odd projects that involved animals as weapons. The Soviet used explosive packed dogs. Oh, that's just cruel.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
See, no, I can't go for that.
Yeah. And U.S. had bat bombs.
Bat bombs.
Bombs packed with bats equipped with incendiary devices intended to start random fires.
Bombs packed with bats. So they light the bats on fire, and then the bats light everything else on fire? Is it like a fragmentation bomb? Okay.
You'll have to look that one
Talk
up.
about the rabbit hole, the damn rabbit hole.
This is a rabbit hole, isn't it?
Yeah.
The British also planned to use rat carcasses that had plastic explosives sewn in and plant them in locomotives so the driver would mistake them for a rat and throw them into the boiler, causing massive explosions.
Oh, my God.
There's so many questions in that. And how do you get a dead rat carcass packed with plastic explosives and then put on an enemy train in the locomotive?
At that point, you're like 3 steps away from actually throwing it in the boiler yourself, aren't you?
Oh, God. Oh, what's our poor pigeons? We were talking about that. Come on, guy. Oh, here it is. However, the interest in using animals in combat during the Second World War was inspired American psychologists and one of the pioneers in behaviorism, B.F. Skinner. Well, that's a good name, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, I like that. To turn pigeons as a means of proving the Allies were more accurate bombs.
What do we know Skinner for? We know
There was a
B.F.
Skinner in X-Files.
No, but we know B.F. Skinner. B.F. Skinner was
do?
a famous... Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Skinner was the boss of Scully and Mulder.
I saw, by the way, this is totally off topic.
That's fine.
I saw an ad, or it was an article, and it had a picture from the X-Files.
Yeah.
And it wasn't related to... The article was about aliens for some reason.
Of
They had
course.
this picture from the X-Files. Do you remember the scene where... What was the bad guy's name?
Cancer Man?
No, the younger guy, the agent, who was always...
That Polak, Kuskowski.
Yeah,
something,
yeah, him.
whatever. Yeah.
Do you remember the one where he was in a missile silo?
Yeah.
And
They locked him in.
Yeah, and the alien, dripped out of his eyes and into the spaceship,
Yeah.
and he's like he's locked in the missile silo.
Yeah.
It's a creepy scene.
Yeah.
Just absolutely creepy scene, but it was a picture from that.
Oh, cool. So it has a point of being. So anyway, Skinner was known to use pigeons in earliest experiments. In
Skinner was an American psychologist, behaviorist, author, inventor, and social philosopher, a professor of psychology at Harvard University,
There you go.
considering free will to be an illusion.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, Skinner saw human action as dependent on consequences of previous actions. The theory would articulate in the principle of reinforcement. Yeah, so he was behavioralist. Yeah, I knew we knew him for some reason. Okay.
So anyways, the Skinner came up with this idea. The bombs were shaped like small gliders, which included wings and tail surfaces. So pretty much like a guided, like one of our, what do you call those things? XSS missiles, but what do we call them?
Patriot missiles?
No, the ones that, the guided ones that we...
Drones.
No, the ones we launch all the time.
Cruise missiles.
Cruise missiles, thank you very much. In the center of the device, there was an explosive warhead section and also a guidance section in the nose cone. The entrapment was to function as the following principle. One of 3 pigeons were placed in the guidance section of the bomb and would face a screen.
A screen.
A screen mounted on pivots. On the side of the screen were 3 lenses mounted to the nose. Their role was to project the image of the target on the screen. Oh, they actually have a picture of it. The screen was filled with sensors and measured angular movements. The pigeons were trained to peck their beaks at the image on the screen. Every other line, by the way, they have a huge pop-up. If the bomb would off course, the image of the screen, based on the pivots, would also move. The pigeons would peck on the screen and bring it back on course. Which makes sense. And you got a little picture of that up here.
How did the pigeons know where to guide it?
Oh, I'm getting there.
Okay, all right.
I'm getting there, I guess. If I can get by all these.
If we're accepting all of this to this point.
Pecking would cause the sensors to recognize a signal and send information to the wings and tail of the surface and would commence steering the bomb in the same direction in which the screen.
This is World War II?
World War II, my friend. The movement would cause the screen in central position. Blah, 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 blah. Come on, let's get to the training of the pigeons, boys. You have to go through like 12 different things. Apart from masterminding the entire idea, Skinner's main role was to use operational conditioning to train the pigeons to peck at the image. The principle itself was basically an analog version of a electronics guidance system, which electric signals perform the role of the birds, detecting the target and preventing deviation from course. And as I scroll by all these things,
I don't know.
even though the plan could work, Skinner knew the main problem of the project was no one took the idea serious enough.
Really?
Only a mention of pigeons would cause laughter by members of the National Defense Research Board.
Can't imagine why.
I have no idea. Not today, though.
Skinner said training complained our problem was that no one would take us seriously. The program was canceled in 1944 because the military believed further prosecution of this project would seriously delay others which, in the minds of the division, had more immediate promise of combat application.
Right. He was awarded $25,000 to fund the project. And it made progress in training the pigeons. So they were trained.
Of course.
Yeah. And, of course, in 1944, the Bat radar-guided bomb was developed and successfully tested.
All right. Bats were an experimental World War II weapon developed by the United States. The bomb, bat bombs, the bomb consisted of a bomb-shaped casing with over 1,000 compartments, each containing hibernating Mexican free-tailed bats with a small timed incendiary bomb attached. Dropped from a bomber at dawn, the casings would deploy a parachute in mid-flight and open to release the bats, which would then disperse and roost the eaves and attics in the 20 to 40-mile radius. The incendiaries, which were set on timers, would then ignite and start fires in inaccessible places in the largely wood and paper constructions of Japanese cities where the weapons intended target were the weapons intended target.
They actually have a picture of this bomb, too.
Yeah, I've got a picture of it here. All right, so what was the point of the bats now?
Burn the city down. I mean, Japan was primarily wood. The buildings were all wood.
Well, that's the incendiary bomb.
Yeah, that's
purpose. But what was the purpose of the bats?
The bats, they would go and roost in their houses, in like the attics and stuff.
Yeah.
And they carried bombs with them that were on timers. So once they roosted, they blew up. So they blew up inside the houses.
Bats carried bombs.
Yeah, they were little bombers, little suicide bombers.
I didn't get that part of it.
Little suicide bombers.
The bat bomb was conceived by a dental surgeon from Irwin, Pennsylvania.
That makes sense.
Lytle S. Adams, an acquaintance of the First Lady, Eleanor Roosevelt. The inspiration for Adams' suggestion was a trip he took to Carlsbad Caverns in National Park, which is home to many bats. Adams wrote about the idea of incendiary bats in a letter to the White House in January of 1942, a little more than a month after the attack on Pearl Harbor. Adams was intrigued by the strength of the bats and knew that they roosted before dawn. He also knew that most of the buildings in Tokyo were constructed of wood instead of concrete. He believed if time-released incendiaries could be attached to the bats and some kind of container holding them could be dropped over the city after dark, and the bats would simply roost and burn Tokyo to the ground. The plan was subsequently approved by President Roosevelt on the advice of Donald Griffin. In his letter, Adams stated that the bat was the lowest form of animal life, and that until now, reasons for its creation have remained unexplained. Oh, he threw the bats under the bus.
Did he really?
He did. What he basically said, what else are these things useful for? He went on to espouse that bats were created by God to await this hour to play their part in the scheme of free human existence and to frustrate any attempt of those who dare to desecrate our way of life. He was a little dramatic, wasn't he?
I guess.
Of Adams, Roosevelt remarked, "The man is not a nut. It sounds like a perfectly wild idea, but it is worth looking into." But they had some problems.
No, really?
A series of tests to answer various operational questions were conducted. In one incident, the Carlsbad Army Airfield Auxiliary Base near Carlsbad, New Mexico, was set on fire on May 15, 1943, when armed bats were accidentally released.
Oops.
The bats roosted under the fuel tank and incinerated the test range. Following the setback, the project was relegated to the Navy in August of 1943. Let the Navy deal with it. We renamed it Project X-Ray and then passed it to the Marine Corps that December. The Marine Corps moved operations to the Marine Corps Air Station in El Centro, California. After several experiments and operational adjustments, the definitive test was carried out on the, quote, Japanese Village, a mock-up of a Japanese city built by the Chemical Warfare Service at their Dugway Proving Grounds in test site in Utah. Observers at this test produced optimistic accounts. The chief incendiary testing at Dugway note, a reasonable number of destructive fires can be started in spite of the extremely small size of the units. The main advantage of the units would be seeing their placement within the enemy structures without the knowledge of the householder or fire watchers, thus allowing the fire to establish itself before being discovered. So I guess they actually use this.
Yeah. Do you know? Well, that was only in a mock-up.
Yeah. More tests were scheduled for mid-1944, but the program was canceled by Fleet Admiral Ernest King when he heard that it would likely not be combat-ready until mid-1945. By that time, it was estimated that $2 million, the equivalent of $19 million today, had been spent on the project. It's thought that the development of the bat bomb was moving too slowly and was overtaken in the race for a quick end of the war by the atomic bomb project. They found a better bomb. Yeah.
Damn. Kill all our creativity.
Adams, this guy, I'm getting to like this guy. Adams maintained that the bat bombs would have been effective without the devastating effects of the atomic bomb. Think of thousands of fires breaking out simultaneously over a circle of 40 miles in a diameter for every bomb drop. Japan would have been devastated, yet with a small loss of life. He was a peach, wasn't he?
Yeah, I guess so. But, you know, the Japanese were not to be outdone.
Uh-oh, what did the Japanese have going on?
They had the bee bomb.
Bees?
Their idea was to fill hot air balloons and float them over to the United States with bees carrying deadly disease.
Wow. I know they used the balloon thing. They were floating stuff over.
Yeah. But
I guess you can still find some stuff in California.
a lot of this stuff I never realized.
Think of it, though, with limited technology, how ingenious these people were.
You know, that we just don't get enough credit for it. You know. Even, check this out. During the American Civil War, the Confederacy accused the Union of purposely introducing the harlequin bug in the South. These accusations were never proven. And modern research has shown us likely the insect by everything. But this is... they had here you
Biological warfare?
go. Yeah, they would let them in there. Well, that was more of an economic. We weren't thing. France is known to. They put in the Colorado potato beetle aimed at the food sources of Germany. They got rid of the crops that way.
When was this?
World War II.
World War II.
Yep.
That's like playing a long game, though, isn't it?
Yeah, the potato beetle. Can you imagine that? Let's see.
Fight whatever way you can,
There's
right?
tons of this stuff. I can't believe how much. The potato beetle was used a lot. So here's the Soviets, of course, not to be outdone. They introduced ticks with foot and mouth disease.
Good Lord.
Yeah, fleas were used a lot in a lot of different countries, including the Japanese. Wow. I don't want to get into tons of this. It's basically bioterrorism.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, I got too many things open. And we should probably take a break anyways.
All right.
So anyways, who's trying to kill us today? With what animal?
The Chinese
Insect?
with bats.
With bats.
Although I can't say that either, right?
No, you can't.
Yeah.
Especially with the rise in Asian doohickeys up.
Oh, yeah.
You can't pick up on anyone. Anyways, you're listening to Ghost Chronicles Morning Edition with Lou and Ron right here on the net, New England Talks. And if you got any comments, you can join us on Facebook, or you can, call in, I think. It's at 978-659-0072. 978-659-0072. We'll be right back.
Do you have a paranormal event, book, or something else you want people to know about? Then why not advertise it on Ghost Chronicles Radio? With over 150,000 downloads a month, get your message out to an audience that's interested in the subject. We have a plan at a cost that fits your needs. For more information, contact Ron Kolek at anyghostproject@comcast.net or call 978-455-6678.
Are you seeing a ghostly apparition every time you look in the mirror? Are you terrified to realize that pale, lifeless, lack of energy form hovering before you is in fact you? How would you like to be transformed? Healing begins from within, and it's never too late to start feeling good. Are you curious? Interested? Good. Don't wait another minute. Visit transformyourlifenow.org or contact Maureen. The email address is maureen@transformyourlife.org. Welcome back to Ghost Chronicles Morning Edition with your host, New England's own Van Helsing, Ron Kolek. We're talking bat bombs, pigeon bombs, potato beetle.
Oh, but there's more. So much more. So, guess what? You're going to love this one.
Okay.
As I am under 1,000.
Oh, I forgot about the glowing foxes.
Oh, yeah. That's what it started, though.
I know.
Yeah. Do you know that during World War II, the British Secret Service came up with a plan? Because Hitler was an avid gardener. I didn't know if you know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he
No.
liked to plant things. So the idea was to...
He's a gentleman, wasn't he? Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I don't want to get into it, but... anyways, so the idea was to put estrogen into his garden to turn Hitler into a woman.
Turn him into a woman.
Yep. British Secret Service.
Okay. I got all kinds of problems with this plan.
Really?
You've got to devote an operative to be able to get close enough to get to Hitler's garden.
Yeah.
And if you get an operative close enough to get into Hitler's garden, why don't you just kill Hitler? As opposed to trying to turn him into a woman.
You think it poisoned the food or something?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Poison the garden.
No.
No.
No. They wanted to put estrogen into his plants so that he become a woman. According to their intelligence, Hitler's sexual alignment was already pretty dubious. So,
Oh, was it now?
so
know this either.
the Allies felt they just needed a gentle nudge to push him into womanhood. And it did.
Oh, my God.
I have no clue. Somebody actually took this serious.
Yeah, see, this is the point. Again, there had to be a second guy, and I'm guessing a third guy on this plan.
unfortunately, it seemed like the plan never had any visible effects. So they did it.
So they actually had a person in there tending to his garden and putting estrogen in the plants. And it didn't turn him into a woman? I'm shocked.
Yep.
He was a bit moody most of the time. I don't know. That had anything to do with anything.
Who knows how the war had turned out if the...
Direct all your correspondence, Ron Kolek, New England Ghost Project.
If you were forced to fight both the Wehrmacht and a sexy Führer with new knockers.
Where is this article?
Never mind. You don't want to know. It's got 1 million pop-ups.
Yeah,
and there's pictures of the glow-in-dark foxes. But wait, there's more. Since we're going down this road, we might as well go all the way. It's the way I look. God, there's so many freaking pop-ups on this thing. It's driving me nuts.
You've got to get an ad blocker on that thing or something.
It's your internet. I don't have this at home. I'm sorry. Oh, what is this? Oh, hang on. Did I go buy something under these things? Whoop. Hang on.
Yes.
I'm getting you. Can you believe in any of these things? Oh, here we go. There's another brilliant one. Dyeing one of the largest rivers in the world yellow to fulfill a prophecy.
Oh, more psych warfare.
Psych warfare.
Yeah.
So, according to this one, and I'm going to get to slide through all this crap again. While hanging out in Japanese-occupied Burma during World War II, legendary anthropologist Gregory Bateson learned of a prophecy that stated when the waters of the country's largest river ran yellow, foreign invaders would be kicked out. Japan was the foreign invader. So the OSS had an habitual drinking problem.
Doesn't surprise me at all.
Initials with poor impulse control. I think that was editorial. So they tried to work on this thing to turn the river yellow to... Bateson and his wife, Margaret Mead, were part of a ragtag team of OSS agents that included celebrity chef Julia Childs and 11 Soviet spy Jane Foster. They were a one jive talking black guy short of an A team. Oh my God! I can't believe they put that. To make the comparisons for those who don't know is the A Team, which was a movie that was on, and they're talking about Mr. T, who was a jive talking black guy. So
yep.
Okay, just to get that out there, it's nothing I said. Bates suggested dyeing the Intewadi River bright yellow to make the breweries think the Japanese would support to make them support the Allies. Well, that was just terrific. They actually got barrels shipped of yellow dye to the area, with planes ready to drop them in the headwaters until Bates had the idea to test the dye in his bath and found out it didn't work.
Well, we dye the river in Chicago green, right? Why couldn't we pull this off?
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, except you better pick the dye next time. Well, that was, anyways. So that never happened.
Oh.
Okay, shall we go?
Yes.
Do you want to go down the rabbit hole?
Yes.
Really?
Oh, yeah, I love rabbit holes.
Intimidating the Soviet Union with enormous American dicks.
Okay. Should have tried this one on the Nazis.
In the early 1950s, the CIA used weather balloons to smuggle propaganda past the Iron Curtain. Thousands of weather balloons were stuffed with communist blows, whatever that is, leaflets. Oh, yeah, communist blow leaflets. Okay. And forged currency that drifted over the border into there. Over 500,000 in total. And they contained 300 million leaflets. But one CIA agent wasn't quite but for one CIA agent, it wasn't quite enough. He had bigger dreams, about 8 inches bigger. His name was...
Do you need to take a psychological test to be in the
I
CIA?
am no, evidently not.
Evidently not.
I think they're smoking a lot when they're doing these things.
Yeah.
Frank Wisner, that's his name,
Of course.
hatched a plan to convince the Soviet Union that Americans had giant dicks,
Yeah.
which are penises, by the way, in case you didn't know.
I think everyone is on board. Yeah.
Which, for the foreign reader would explain the unquestioned... Never mind. I can't even get through this.
Yeah. Pre-read a little. I'll advise you to pre-read a little.
I had no idea. So Wisner wanted to escalate the balloon campaign to include small baskets of made-in USA goods. They would be ostensibly humanitarian aid and serve as examples of American capitalism. But there was a true sinister purpose. Among the goods were packets of jumbo extra-large condos labeled small and medium.
Oh, God.
The goal was to intimidate the Soviets by convincing them that all Americans had huge dicks.
So they're thinking the Russians are going to look at this and go, "Stop the war! Stop the Cold War! We can't
Or
compete."
maybe say, capitalism is so bad, it makes your dick grow.
Yeah.
I have no clue.
All the women started leaving.
Imagine the looks of terror among the peasants as they slid the floppy raincoats on and found them fitting. Not too good, let's put it that way. I'm not going to get into I can't go any farther on this. This is gone.
There's a little more information than I needed.
There's way much
right there.
more information than I got.
Oh, Lord.
Where the freak did they come up with?
I don't know.
How did they get by? That's the thing.
Now, listen, you've hung around men long enough. You're a hockey player.
Yeah.
It's no secret
Maybe
how they come up with this stuff.
Maybe they need a few women on the team next time.
It's no secret that they come up with this stuff. It's a secret of how it becomes actionable. In other words, how do they spend, $9 million on bat bombs? You could see a guy coming up with an idea. We come up with amazing ideas, but to get someone to go, okay, let's cut a check for that, actually do it.
I know. We have a couple of things on here which I can't read. My eyes are too teared up right now. Honestly, I had such a hard time. Getting through that. That was just terrible.
And yet you went there.
Yeah, I know it. So,
I'm trying to get to the video so I can see the comments here. Oh, John writes, he says, sorry about your cat.
Yep.
Ad blockers work on my computer, especially block ad on YouTube.
So I guess I'm behind on these comments.
Yep.
And Charlotte
says hello from France.
Oh, parlez-vous français?
What were the French doing? They were doing the potato bugs?
Yeah, the potato bugs.
Yeah.
So watch out. All right, so here's another wonderful plan that we developed or somebody developed. Convincing everyone that Richard Nixon is crazy. That's not
hard.
That's not hard.
No.
During the 1968 presidential election, President Nixon frequently hinted that he had a secret plan to end the war in Vietnam. He refused to release any details until he won off office. When he gathered together his closest aides, they began to talk about a lengthy process of unveiling his complex political strategy, which was to convince everybody that he was crazy. I have no idea where this is going. Presumably, at this point, an excited aide said, "Great, what's next?" To which he said, "Your mom, because she was the next step. That was it." What? The so-called...
Again, I'll advise pre-read.
The so-called madman theory argued that if the enemy thought that Nixon was wait a minute, this is kind of like Trump, isn't it? So if the madman theory, it is it's like Trump, right? That's what they call him, right?
Yeah.
This scares the crap out of everybody. That if Nixon was a dangerous, unstable, raving lunatic, that might launch an unstoppable barrage of nukes at someone, maybe they would, go in a different direction. I don't think it worked.
During the Cold War, the CIA launched Operation Acoustic Kitty,
Oh, okay.
embedding a $15 million bugging device into a cat in order to spy on Soviet officers. Too bad the cat was run over on its first mission,
Are you serious?
apparently. Battle bear in 1943, the Polish army adopted an orphan bear cub found wandering the hills of Iran. Wojtek was later trained to carry ammunition into battle, was officially ranked as a Polish soldier.
I knew that.
Did you?
Yes,
Well,
that's a good story. Do you know the story of that? I think
No.
we talked about it on the show. I know we had.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, basically it was, if I get it right, there was a British unit in Iraq or around that way, and they had this bear cub that was
That they adopted.
that he adopted, right?
Yep.
But when the time the bear would actually salute and everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah, oh yeah. It would drink beer and smoke cigarettes.
That's what you want. You want a bear drinking beer. That's
Yeah, and when it was time to ship out, the only way they could, you can't bring pets with you, so the only way to do it is they made
commissioned them.
commissioned them. And during one of the battles, the bear actually brought heavy crates of ammunition to the men, and so he was awarded a medal for that.
I think I remember.
Yeah, he awarded the medal for that.
Yep.
He's buried in Scotland. There's actually a statue to him up there because he was retired and up there. Yeah, but that's not the only one. Do you know we had a dog during the First World War that also and our troops were? Another similar story. There was a dog. They brought him over to France, and he would notify the troops when a German attack was coming.
Oh, nice.
And, yeah. And he actually got mustard gassed. Yeah, but he survived. And so he would actually warn the troops when mustard gas was coming. So pretty cool stuff.
I like it.
Animals did help.
In 1957, in the height of the Cold War, Great Britain hatched a plan to bury a series of nuclear warheads throughout Germany as a failsafe in case the Soviet army attempted to invade Europe from the east. Immediately, they encountered a problem. The winter temperatures of the North German plain, where they planned to bury the nukes, got way too cold for the bomb's electronics to function. So Britain's best military scientists went to work and came up with the most ridiculous idea ever. Chickens, they said, would produce enough body heat to keep the electric circuits warm. With a week's supply of food, the chickens would stay alive long enough to keep the bombs in working order. Eventually, the project was canceled, not because it was crazy, but because Britain were worried about the political aspects of detonating nuclear warheads in Allied territory, which makes a lot more sense. So the chickens were going to keep the electronics warm.
That makes sense.
Sure.
Do you know, going back to the Nixon nuts thing? So that was one of the things they really did push. And when he became president, he actually, they had Operation Giant Lance. And what it is, it saw 18 B-52 bombers fully loaded with nuclear weapons take off full tilt towards the Soviet Union, then turn back and then go back again and do the same thing.
Nixon did this?
Yeah.
Just launched 52 bombers and sent them towards the Soviets?
18 B-52s.
18.
Yep.
Good Lord. That's playing with fire, isn't it?
Yes, it was.
But they probably didn't have... Did they have intercontinentals at that point? Probably not.
Yeah, we did.
They had intercontinentals?
Yeah, Nixon, sure. Yeah, we
Yeah.
did. Because it was way after. Oh, that's amazing.
In the 1920s, Joseph Stalin set in motion a plan to create a race of super soldiers by crossing humans and chimpanzee genetics.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah, they did that.
He put his top veterinary science, Ilya Ivanov, to work on the project, tasking him with creating an invincible human being insensitive to pain. Ivanov went to work in French Guinea, and he attempted to impregnate female chimpanzees with human sperm, his own sperm. Records of the experiment suggest that he only used 3 chimps for the insemination project, although he brought 10 others back to Russia with him, presumably before telling his wife. for the experiments I propose. I promise. The next stage of the experiment involved using ape sperm to impregnate a human female, but from what we can tell, it never happened.
Never happened, yeah.
Because the only reproductive age ape that they had access to died before they could get started.
That was one of the explanations for the Indian monkey man. Remember we talked on the show one time?
Yeah.
Yeah, the monkey man terrorized India for several months and attacked hundreds of people. And one of the theories was that it was a Soviet super race got out of the lab. Which
it's a weird world, isn't it?
I know that's the cool thing about it. There's so many different really things. Are we done with the show?
We're done with the show.
Damn. But, the interesting thing about people try to explain some of this weird stuff. So they come up with ideas and they say, well, this is the theories and that. But number one, sometimes it only addresses one portion of the phenomena, when really it's only one explanation, so it doesn't fit the whole thing.
Right.
And the second one, it isn't reproducible in the laboratory, which is true science. It has to be reproducible.
Right. Yep.
But we got to go. We want to thank everybody for listening to us and going down this rabbit hole with us.
Especially Charlotte from France.
Yeah, parlez-vous. And speak French, Charlotte.
Don't start.
Anyways, we're brought to you by Circles of Wisdom, 386 Merrimack Street in Methuen, Massachusetts, and the Gallant Messier Family Law Group, and our good friends on Patreon. And you can become a member of Patreon and be a member of the Dead Air Society and hear stuff and see stuff that you can only see as a Patreon member. So go to our Patreon page, Ghost Chronicles Radio, see it. We got to go. Good night. God bless.
From ghoulies to ghosties, long-leggedy beasties, and things that go bump in the night. Deliver us, good Lord.